up, everyone? Welcome to Legacy Talks with your host, Kalisha. Today, we're operating in at a whole different intersection of two things most people don't think usually like come together, which is healthcare and private equity. We're talking mergers and acquisitions, recession resistant assets, and what it actually looks like to build a capital strategy in one of the most fragmented industries in the country. We have two amazing guests today. Today, Janelle and Lionel, which are both founders of Urgent Flex Holding. But without me saying anything else, you guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us,
Thank
Kalisha.
you, Kalisha.
Listen, it's about time. It's about time.
It actually is about time.
Listen, but I always say like nothing happens before its time. I'm so happy that you guys are here. When I met you guys, I was just fascinated in terms of the industry and what you guys were doing, and especially that you guys are Black and brown businesses, Jamaican background in the space that you're in. I'm usually used to people in real estate, but you guys are in healthcare. Like, how did that happen? Listen, I love it. No, it's so crazy, man. Like, did you guys both have like a background in healthcare? Like, talk to me about that.
No.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. Definitely, our background, at least for all intents and purposes, was more entrepreneurial. We kind of dibbled and dabbled in a couple areas, but aside from like, having a pretty strong network and then being based in Central Florida, where healthcare is kind of everything,
Yeah.
that's what kind of led the charge in that direction.
Yeah. Just to piggyback too, we started off in insurance and investments, and believe it or not, after that chapter, we went into real estate,
Yeah.
specifically in the COVID period, which was phenomenal time. Like it was amazing for us, I will say, because we had a property under contract, I remember, and we had this contact. She was a broker.
Mm-hmm.
The property's under contract. We're waiting to close, and every day we get up, we refresh the value of the property, and it's like we bought a stock that was going up.
Yeah.
So that was great.
So, how did you guys before? Because I want to know why it was so good in COVID, but how did you guys even meet?
Yeah, so believe it or not, we came across each other's paths almost 8, 9 years ago
Mhm.
at the awesome campus of Valencia College.
Shout
Shout
out.
out to Valencia College. Yeah, at the time, I was going to school for something completely different from what I was going for. Lionel was already
I
barking
was
up the
already out of
street.
business.
Yeah, he was already
Wow.
standing on business, as they say.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and just kind of met him just in the happenstance of life, and a couple interesting phone calls later, end up joining him on this insurance run and investment run, and that just kind of spiraled into what we were alluding to earlier.
Yep.
So, was it what type of insurance was it? Like home insurance, car insurance, life insurance? There's so many different insurance.
Yeah, it was life insurance and annuities, which was the one that really caught my attention. I mean, life insurance is cool, that's like bread and butter. But with the investment side of the business, the goal was just to find persons with 401ks, retirement funds, kind of roll it over into a better vehicle that's yielding, more consistent 8% per year. And you roll those over and kind of have a management fee that you get, and it was a good way I saw to get into the investment field.
Why real estate though? Like, how did you get to that point?
I genuinely think it was a combination of opportunity and the chaos of COVID, and at the same time, we were just looking for something that was going to be kind of like a Hail Mary. You kind of want to have that one thing that's consistent, that's going to keep things running, keep the lights and every on all the bills taken care of. But then every
Yeah.
once in a while, you want to have something that's going to kind of stretch you or kind
Well,
of push you
no,
back.
actually, so I remember it now. Hold on. How we got into real estate, Kalisha, actually, there was a friend of mine
Yeah.
who, when we were at our office
Hmm.
in the insurance space, he pulled up to our office and he was driving this beautiful car. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he said, "Oh, I'm doing real estate." I'm like, "What kind of real estate?" He's like, "Multifamily." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "You should come work for me." I'm like, "Okay, I'll think about it." And like 2 months to like that's like a few weeks, and I'm like, "You know what? Let's give it a shot."
Hmm.
I Paris kind of stayed and I kind of handled the insurance side of the business. I ventured out and I learned how to. I was the one in charge of raising money for his multifamily investments, and it was the first time I actually asked someone for $1 million, which was,
I was about to ask you though, like, how did that feel? Like, was that
oh
your
my
first
god,
time?
it felt so good. I actually hit this. It was a business broker that I'd reached out. I'm like, I mean, business broker. He's still $1 million business. He gotta have a few hundred thousands just laying around, you know.
The business one.
Yeah, full circle. We actually met him just on our business acquisition
Process. Yeah.
pathway down the line. He had a few deals, but I sat down with him and showed him what we got going on. And I said, let me put you down for $1 million. And I was like, maybe like 18, 19 or something at the
You
time.
asked him for $4 million.
Yeah, yeah. And
For 1 million.
yeah, 1 million.
What? Oh, I was like 4 million. I was like,
No,
okay,
no,
Right.
no,
first.
no, 1 million.
For 1 million to Nana.
And he was like, he looked at me dead in my face and he was like, well, there's no way I'm giving you $1 million. And
Yeah,
I counter, I followed up immediately with, okay, I understand. How about 500,000?
you
He
didn't tell me.
leveled with me, and I think that was like my first indirect contact also with like business acquisitions, because he said, Lionel, all businesses are the same regardless of the industry. They have a tax returns, they have a cash flow statement, they have balance sheets. Like the pipeline is the same. I didn't raise any money from him, but
No, but you were bold. You had some balls asking though for your first try. A lot of persons are scared to do that.
but yeah, and it stuck with me because like it felt like a lid got lifted when I did that. It really
That's
did.
funny. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. It's crazy because like some people be like, I don't even want to ask for 100,000, but you went in and you asked for 1 million, and he said no, and you're like, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna ask for 500,000.
Yeah,
No,
but
that's pretty good.
yeah, no, it was definitely it was a what you call it, a canon event. I think for
Oh
sure.
man. How and then the thing is too, like you guys did real estate investing. Were you guys flipping? Were you buying multifamily? Were you doing rental wholesaling? What were you doing in real estate during COVID?
So the second meeting that we had was with one of our mentors right now, actually, and he's actually on our board too. And he was looking at the company that I was working for, and he poked a whole bunch of holes in this guy's strategy that I was working for. And I'm like, I did give feedback to who I was working with at the time, and it was an uphill battle. You know what they say? It's like it's a full time job changing yourself, so don't go trying to change people.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
said, you know what? Instead of like trying to change this guy's business, why not just take that feedback and build something, just duplicate and do it better. And we decided we were going to find a property. I think it's Burr,
Hmm.
where you buy it and then you rent it and then refinance it. That was our goal.
So you buy it, you renovate it, you rent it out, you refinance it, and then you repeat it.
Right. And so the refinance is how we would have cashed out our investor.
Hmm.
But we ended up wholesaling the property and then doing like a property management fee, which was
Hmm.
good. So now we had like a good chunk of cash, plus we have some residual from the property management fee, which was we also looked at the returns too that we would getting in real estate, and we were like, maybe we could push it a little harder.
Hmm.
Something a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, a bit more aggressive.
Now I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me about that.
Well, this is my take on real estate. I think real estate is very, very, very defensive, right?
Hmm.
And there's pros and cons, right? And for us, we were looking at the price of the income, right? That's what we
Hmm.
wanted. That's what we were looking at. We were looking at price of the free cash flow. And if we
When
look
you
at
say So for our listeners, when you say you're looking at, because I know you're very advanced for us, when you talk about the price, what do you mean by that? For someone who is not there yet, explain to us when you mean the price of the cash flow.
Okay, so let's say we have an asset,
Hmm.
whether it's real estate, stock, a business, or just anything. It's an
Yeah.
asset, right? An asset is something that produces cash flow. When you look at the return that it gives, right? When you look at the return that it gives, then you're able to price what the asset is worth. So if this asset is worth $1 million, for example, and it pushes out $100,000 a year, right?
Hmm.
Then you're getting a 10% return technically on your $1 million asset. So in terms of price of the free cash flow, that would be 10x. So
Hmm.
you're paying 10 times earnings for that free cash flow.
Okay. Thank you for.
And yeah, and we looked at the market, and we saw there were more opportunities within the business acquisition space, and that's why we looked at that space. Because I mean, with our first transaction, we were doing around 1 million or so in free cash flow, and we probably paid 3 to 4 times earnings for
From.
that cash flow. So there's more risk associated with a business, because you're kind of buying the goodwill and all of that stuff.
Operations.
Yeah.
So even with that too, like before you got, so you realize that when it comes on to real estate, but what was that thing where you're like, we're gonna make as business partners, let's make the transition from real estate into mergers and acquisition. Talk to me about that time when you made that transition, or did a light bulb moment happen? Did something tragic or good happen where you're like, yep, this is it, we're done with real estate?
I'd say it's two things. Prior to even kind of getting into that, we got hip to a very very esteemed gentleman in the acquisition space by the name of Dan Pena.
Hmm.
Lionel introduced me to him years before we even got into the real estate stuff. At least like 2 or 3 years. I say years. Um, that was one of those things where it was like you can buy a business, and the idea was so novel. I was like, what is that process like?
No
Left
one
it.
tells you you can buy
Yeah,
it.
no.
Don't start a business.
What a
Here's how you register the LLC. But to buy one, to go through the acquisition, that was a very interesting idea. Kind of move
business.
forward to where we are with the real estate. We had did all this legwork, and again, we wanted something that was a bit more aggressive. We kind of just looked at everything that we ended up with, and we was like, man, if we do this, building wealth in this kind of bucket,
Yeah.
actual, tangible wealth. And I get it with real estate, it's there, it's yours. But I mean, you kind of don't really build that wealth until you eventually grow this thing, sell this thing, and kind of keep it going from there. We were
Yeah.
looking for something that was going to kind of be a bit more active in terms of, how we built our wealth or how we actually had access to cash flow in a
Yeah,
sense.
more levers for revenue as well too.
Yeah, so it was a combination of us striving for this thing that we had learned from this
Somebody
gentleman
else.
named Dan Pena, and then also we wanted something that was going to actually kind of give us a bit more in terms of how we built our wealth.
Yeah, so we
Bit
knew
more
we
active
we knew we were going to go into
acquisitions.
mergers and acquisitions, like from the start.
Mhm.
But to do that, there is a knowledge gap, and it's not free. We invested heavily into ourselves as well. The first course that we took, it cost us like $30,000, and
Yeah, I
that's
was
money
about
that,
like,
yeah.
you guys seem, and even if persons are watching or listening, we're like, wait, were there always this like very strategic, knew exactly what they wanted, but you just touch on it, like you, even though you knew you wanted to go into, like you invested in education to get to that point too.
Yeah, and when we did it, I mean, we were living on ramen
Yeah.
and spent that money.
Yeah, happily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
See,
So
no, so that's the thing, like that, and that's what I want you to share, like to our audience, because it's very, like as I said, like for me, it was very inspiring to see, to learn when I just met you guys, what you guys were doing. I was like, whoa, like you guys are in this space as well, and it sounds easy when you talk about it, but I'm sure there's some groundwork. Like there's a lot of work that went into it, and the fact that you guys said, like, it looks like you guys look well put together, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It looked like the whole finance bros from Wall Street, like all that thing. But
it
to
was
remind
loud. Yeah.
It wasn't always like that.
No, no, I mean, I'll tell you what, the best thing you can do and the first thing you need to do is just invest into yourself. Nobody can take that
if
from you.
if I can, even on that note, appearances, if you want to even go down that direction. I remember me and Lionel, I think it was when we were doing the whole thing with selling the house plants.
Yeah.
We were able to another venture that happened back in the
Oh
day.
no, tell me, I want to hear. I was like,
Many years ago. It was an opportunity. I will not go into the details because I just won't. Just know we were in park corners and different local parks here in Orlando selling
yeah,
house plants. And from that money, we were able
we're
to
selling.
yeah, selling house plants.
Plants.
House plants, like I mean, yeah, selling house plants.
Facebook Marketplace. It was pretty.
Yeah,
It was a good
pretty,
gig. I
pretty
tell you what,
lucrative, pretty
we need to
lucrative.
start that up again.
Well, I bring it up because from those proceeds, we were able to get into getting ourselves into our first pair of suits,
Yeah,
our first
yeah,
pair of three-piece suits.
yeah. We
Wow.
bought, and sometimes we'd have like these. Sometimes you gotta take someone out, and it's like
Mhm.
like
You want to?
it's a
Yeah.
little expensive, at least from where we were at.
Yeah.
But like we look at those things as like investments. Like, okay, we're gonna spend $300 on dinner. All right, cool.
Mhm.
But this dinner might turn into something. You know.
Yeah. So
Before you guys go ahead, Paris.
I was gonna say any little opportunity that we saw early on where we can reinvest into ourselves, if we
Yeah.
knew it was gonna further our game or further our direction, it was an opportunity to take.
See, and now I want to ask too, like, because you guys said something very crucial. You talk about investing in yourself, but you also talk about investing in your appearance. Did you guys always have that mindset of, okay, yeah, we definitely we're a suit type of guys, or was it like you saw someone that was very inspiring, or at the level that you're at, the way that how they dress, were you taught this is the way how to do it? Like, how did that thinking? How did you have that mindset that let's invest in a suit for this particular reason?
Well, yeah, it was a mix of just our mentors. Dan Pena, he's big on like I'm underdressed right now with when it comes to Dan Pena.
To his
Like
standard, yeah.
he is, yeah, he says you can never be underdressed. You can never be overdressed. Actually, yeah. He's three-piece suit type of guy, pocket watch, the whole 9 yard, a little flow, little flow on,
Handkerchief.
like
Yeah.
like dressed to the T, like he's gonna meet the queen.
Yeah.
And even in our insurance days, like our mentors as well too, they had this saying, they were like, dress how you want to be addressed.
Hmm.
Those little things that they might sound cliche, they work and they matter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it really does affect your physiology too, like your psychology, because like sometimes, I would say like when the whole, if you ever get up some days and like you feel like you're down, or if the world is burning, you dress up. I tell you what, if the world is burning, look good while it's burning. Look
Listen,
good.
I can relate to you on that because I've had days where I'm like, oh, I'm not up to it. And I was like, yep, get at the house. We're going to get dressed, put on something nice, go to a
Yeah.
nice coffee shop and work. And I was like, I got so much stuff done, my confidence, everything. I was like,
Mhm.
damn, all because I got dressed, cool my hair, put on some makeup. So I'm
Yeah, oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you gotta show up for yourself.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
gotta look like the person who you see yourself as too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Look like your future self.
No, I love that. I love that. So you guys definitely had, you talk about your mentors. So you've had someone there with you in your corner because you invested in that and being exposed to different rooms. Now talk to me about Urgent Flex. Also, I love the branding, by the way. And I was like, they're not in some like, if you're not watching this, they're not in some like cheap shirt, like or anything like they're like really cool vests. Again, if you're listening, you need to go watch it because they look like those Wall Street bros. But like Urgent Flex, talk to me about that. What is it that you do? What makes you guys different? What's your strategy? What can you share to our audience? Again, most of our audience are entrepreneurs who are looking to be inspired too, as well. Like just talk to how you got into the space, like the strategy and how you continue to grow as well.
Well, before we do, I do want to credit our like executional like success to our mentor Jason Paul Rogers.
I
He's
appreciate
actually, Yep. Shout out to Jason.
Jason
He's
Florida
Florida
Rogers.
based. He's doing very well.
Tampa, actually.
And yeah,
Tampa
he's
as
out
well.
in Tampa.
Yeah.
Maybe we can swing him in for an interview. We'll see.
Yes, I'm always down.
Yeah, but he's doing very well. He's doing the same thing we're doing, but he's doing it in the plumbing and HVAC space.
Mhm.
Great guy. I mean, we if even right now, sometimes I'm going through stuff and I pick up the phone and like
It's checking.
yeah,
Just checking.
Yeah.
we'll chat.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, no,
Shout out to
definitely.
Jason.
I'll say this just to piggyback on what he just said. If there's one thing that me and Lionel will never shy from is the fact that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Like there's so many other people that we are looking to get mentorship from and work with in the near future. But it's crucial for us to be able to highlight those individuals that have kind of paved that way for us.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Especially as I said, like it's rare. It's most persons are usually in the real estate space and they have aspirations to be in the business acquisition space. But it seems so far fetched, right? Because either person don't want to share the info or you seem like I don't have all the financing to get there. So it's like in the back of their head, it's a dream and it can't really happen. But to see you guys who have done it and continuously doing it and growing from it is just amazing. So
Thank you.
putting that out there too. But yeah, no, talk to me now about Urgent Flex.
All right, so I'll get a spiel. Urgent
Right.
Flex, we're an investment group and we're making acquisitions within the healthcare space. The first portfolio we decided to work on is in the hyperbaric oxygen therapy space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we like the space for a number of reasons. One, it's fragmented, meaning there's a lot of small business owners like mom and pops who went into this space. They have their own practice and they're doing well. And then there's a lot of retirement age owners as well within that fragmentation. The second thing is margins as well. Margins are great. Just like as a criteria for us is whenever we're looking at a business or like an industry in and of itself, we
Yeah.
need margins of at least 20 to 30% minimum. If it doesn't have that, it's too risky.
And when you say margins, how did you come up with that number? Why not 10%? Why not 30%?
Because just like when you're starting out, you need to have breathing room for mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And we made mistakes, but when you choose the right industry, it's able to it's able to absorb those mistakes. You have flesh wounds and then you have mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So when you have good margins in your business, you're able to take more flesh wounds, and they're not mortal wounds.
That one makes sense. So then you mentioned so I'm assuming how did you know there was, and I know this is very straightforward, but it could be different. But how did you know to go into that space specifically?
So
Did you
so
have
really,
another backup or whatever?
so I wouldn't call it a backup. I think what happened was when we started our fellowship within the whole M&A educational pathway, what
Yeah.
we started seeing was it was for sure going to be healthcare where we were going to plant our flag. Being
Mhm.
in Florida, the network that we had, okay, that part was easy. It's
Got
not
it.
until you kind of open up those doors that are healthcare in Florida and you see that there's so many different niches and so many generalized areas. So
Yeah.
just to kind of go off the top of the list here, I mean, we looked at home health services, we looked at NEMT, non-emergency medical transport. We
Hmm.
looked at assistant living,
Hospice.
hospice care, and Lionel kind of spearheading on anything that's kind of business development or just kind of initial acquisitions. He can kind of talk about some of those conversations that he had with brokers or just with the open market in general.
Yeah. So what I was finding was like we kind of got stuck in a loop where we plant our flags on an industry
Yeah.
and we commit, which is commitment can also be a bias as well too,
That's
which
true.
is commitment bias is actually crazy. Just because you make the decision and then you invest time into it, you're more you mentally want to hold on to the commitment just because of the time
Yeah.
invested. And we kind of got stuck in that loop at least like three times
Yeah.
where we looked at the industry and we did the whole investment thesis. This is what we're doing. We hired we onboarded board
Board members
board members specific to that
to that
industry.
industry, yeah.
And then when it's finally time to look at a deal, I look at two, three, four deals, and the margins are terrible. There's a lot of competition. There's no
Mm,
moats, and now we've built all this stuff, and it's just.
yeah.
And we've had to dial back. We're like, we're not doing this
Scrap it down.
anymore. And we got stuck into that a couple of times. So we changed our approach.
Mhm.
We adapted our approach to not commit to any niches, but commit to healthcare.
Mm.
From that, I just looked, for at least for a month or two, I just looked at what popped up, and I just reached out to, just random healthcare deals, and the first thing I was looking for was just a business with good numbers, because if you buy a business with good numbers and the industry isn't what you really want, you can always change and you'll have a good business. So I was just looking for something for us with great numbers that could be supported by some debt, some bank debt. The banks would like it.
What did when you were looking for those businesses, what did that outreach look like? When you're reaching out, like how are you finding these businesses?
I mean, online biz buy sell. People sleep on biz buy sell.
Yeah, I always hear bad stuff about them.
Really, that's crazy. I mean, I tell you what, our first real estate transaction, we got it from Craigslist.
Wow.
Yep, made 30,000. Craigslist.
Wow.
So, it doesn't matter where the deal comes from.
As long as it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta roll up your sleeve and look in the spots where most persons aren't looking. They might think, too prestige to get to look on Craigslist or
So reach
whatever,
out to that email.
just reach out. It's about giving yourself a shot. It's about giving
Yeah.
yourself another chance of success.
Mhm.
So, shout out to Biz by Sell. They got good deal flow.
Yeah.
And I still look on Biz by Sell.
Not an endorsed message, but yes,
Yeah.
they still
But
offer a lot of deal flow.
you said something that's crucial though, that you put in the groundwork of doing outreach. I think a lot of people that sucks because I can only imagine like you've reached out to so many different businesses at maybe on a given day and
We've
call.
we've cold called
And
too.
really quick, just to kind of piggyback off on our experiences and our process of how we got here in the insurance space, in the life insurance space. I mean, we would prospect random people that you just see walking down the street, walking in the stores, walking in the malls, just to see if this would be someone that we could potentially either come work with us at the insurance firm we're at, or maybe even get them some life insurance. Those kind of like those fears of cold calling and those fears of going
Fear of
out
rejection.
gone. We're like 18, 19 doing that. So yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's
All,
pretty dope. So at
all
least
those
you
fears
had
are
that experience before.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think no is not permanent. It's just no right now,
Yeah.
or it's just no to the way how you ask.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. So you definitely did a lot of outreach. Can you give me a time or a day when maybe you did 100 outreach in a day, 50 outreach in a day, where you're like, this is it, or you felt like you want to quit? Like, tell me about kind of go back to the memory lane, right? When you were doing an outreach, like, tell me about a time when maybe the number of outreach, the business that you talked to, you had a bad experience, someone said something bad to you, like, because it sounds, yeah, someone be like, I can do that, or nah, it sounds glorious, but I know you guys went through it, and I want to
Well,
hear that.
yeah. I mean, we both did.
We kind of did,
Yeah,
but
we both did reach out.
but it ended up being
outreaches.
more of his kind of bag. That's how
He dealt with the banks mostly.
Mhm.
I dealt with the sellers. And I'd cold call people, and what's funny is like when you choose an industry and you start to do cold call within that industry, if you stick to it, you eventually get a lay of the land of who knows who,
Mm.
and you find out really quick that most times an industry is a very small niche community. But I've never been discouraged by it. Maybe it stops me for like 5 minutes or so, but not yeah, nothing to kill a day. Only thing that stops me is maybe like it's time to buy some get a pub sub or something.
yeah, we can take a little a
Yeah.
little session here.
Walk me through the process. So you would do the business outreach. At what point does Paris comes in for the financing portion of it? Like, what does that look like? Someone says, yes, I'm interested. Then do you go straight to the bank for financing? What happens in between before you hand over? And then from Paris, once you hand over, what happens next?
Yeah. So once, if I'm speaking to a seller and they're interested in exploring
Mhm.
an exit, that's
Yeah.
how I. Are you interested in exploring an exit?
Mhm.
The next step would be for me to just review 3 years of financials. I'd make it simple. I'd just ask to see 3 years of tax returns. And I might ask for more documents, but if the tax returns are straightforward, I'll be able to come up with a number that hopefully can make sense for both of us.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
and that also comes up to my side because those tax returns are kind of like some of the bare minimum docs that the banks are going to ask for anyways. So Lion was asking for it just for having a good understanding or sake of the numbers holistically, and
Yeah.
eventually they'll make it to my side if there is even a deal here, and then from there we're able to actually kind of say, hey, Miss Banker, this is what we're looking at. Prospects are still kind of being reviewed. Due diligence is still going on the way, but we'd love to see what this could look like as an opportunity for us to get
Yeah.
lending or financing on. So
So
it truly starts with the tax returns.
during this time, are you under like an LOI? Do you do a LOI, or are you under contract yet, or you're still trying to explore option before you put it under contract?
I It depends. If it's cold market, or if it's like a cold call, no broker involved, I really want to ensure that I get a full sense of the business, because what I don't want is to overpromise on the
Mm,
LOI.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're a sharpshooter and you say, based off of this, I think it's gonna land at 2.5, and the banks look at it and they say, well, I think 2.3 is where it's at, then that's good. But
yeah.
you need to dial it in if you're offering an LOI for 5 million and the banks are like,
Mhm.
I don't know what I don't know what you're on, but it's not 5 million. And then now you gotta do a kind of like a walk of shame back and say, hey, 5 million to 1 million, it psychologically it kills the deal. So you want to make sure that your LOI is as close as possible to where the business value is.
I like that though. Some people go ahead, Paris.
No, really quick, I was just gonna say is one thing that we did started seeing, at least on some of the off market stuff, is sometimes with the LOI it becomes like this big promise and all this stuff, and this sell side can get a little fidgety. I started to see, and we're seeing this with some of our other folks that we're kind of working with, and sometimes even just the verbiage in there, whether it's binding or not, it goes
Yeah.
a long way with just kind of getting their buy-in so that they can kind of be in support of, okay, let's actually go through this let's actually
Hmm.
go through this process with you to see what it'll look like. If it's not binding, okay, let's actually go through it, and if you guys are able to get us in front of a bank, and if they can give us, or if we can kind of come to a number that makes sense, we've seen some interesting results with doing it that way as well.
I like that though, because you're not, as you said, you're not overpromising. One, two, you're not wasting people's time. You
Exactly.
want to be very serious. So that approach, some people will be so quick to put it under LOI, like, no, you need to sign a contract right now, yada yada. So I like the approach how you guys take it. So you're not just wasting your time too.
No, Kelisha, I tell you what, I've seen it so much, especially in COVID.
Hmm.
Well, when interest rates were like super low, like what you'll see, like I'll look at a transaction and I'll see the numbers and I'm like, yeah, this is a $3 million transaction.
Yeah.
The broker might have it at 4 million or 5 million. Sometimes a buyer might come out of the woodwork and be like throwing a $5 million LOI on the table, and I'll just stand there with my $3 million offer. I'm like, you're gonna waste your time. This is exactly what's gonna happen. You're gonna go to the banks. They're gonna look at the numbers, and that 5 million isn't going to happen at all. And I'll circle back in 2 to 3 months, and sometimes they learn. You know what? Let me go with this guy because he seems like he knows what he's talking about.
I
And
love.
I think one thing that persons can do
Hmm.
in this space when they come upon stuff like that too is just ask a broker if they have
A
a
lender.
pre like
SBA pre-approved letter.
yeah, ask them if they have a pre-approval. That's the quickest way to like really cut a price down. Like if it's overvalued, hey, do you have a pre-approval for this business? If they don't, I think you should, because when you do that, the banks are going to pre-underwrite it and put it at the right number.
That makes sense. So now this is a perfect transition into the financing portion of it, because I know you guys use SBA loan, you guys do private capital, investors. How do you like, I didn't even say how do you, because I'm got this is a question just for me. But when it comes, like, tell me about a deal that you did, a very creative capital stack where you did an SBA loan or something as line of credit. There's so many funding sources. So talk to me about a deal that you did, a creative funding or financing structure to acquire a business.
Well, we'll share two. I think we'll share JM and Hyox because Hyox got kind of
So we've
creative.
only done
Yeah.
we've only done
Hyox got
two
pretty creative.
transactions, good transactions, just two for the most part.
Yeah, with our first opportunity, we did it through the SBA. The majority of the deal was done through the SBA in terms of the capital stack. We did raise some equity from the private side, but there were really individuals that were on our board already,
Yeah.
and then we were able to negotiate a seller's note with the sellers, obviously, of the clinic. So that was crucial because just especially when you're looking at doing an acquisition for the first time, the banks are looking at you with this risk portfolio of who is this person or who is this group trying to buy this multi-million-dollar company. And if you don't have a certain net worth, if you don't have a certain criteria with attached to next to your name, a lot of these things kind of come into the play, and it's even outside of the realm of, hey, how profitable is this business, but how likely is it that this individual or this group isn't
The
gonna,
management team,
yeah, the
the
management
experience.
team, the experience
Yeah.
isn't gonna fudge this thing up.
Yeah.
So the reason why I bring that up is when you start doing stuff like incorporating a seller's note, when you kind of diversify where all the monies are coming from, the banks look at it as, okay, well, it's not all on us.
Mm.
Kind of it de-risks it for them psychologically from even a banking standpoint, and you have that because at the end of the day, there's these underwriters are people like you and I. I've never seen one of these guys, Lionel. Never seen a bank underwriter. I don't know. They probably walk around with these hoods and.
If you're an underwriter, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We don't think you guys
Yeah,
exist.
we don't think you guys exist. But I bring that up because it's one of the realities when you're talking to a bank. You see the big name, whether you're going with hopefully you don't go directly to like a JP Morgan because those guys probably won't give you too much time of the day. But there's banks out there that will actually work with you when you're kind of just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
That risk portfolio is really important.
You got to look at the bank as the bank is your investor technically. The bank technically is your investor.
There's a partnership there. You have to try to.
Yeah, and you have to know what their appetite is and de-risk the deal as much as possible for them.
Yeah.
That's like me going to my bank. I could walk into any bank right now if I have a purchase agreement for a Bugatti for $100,000, brand new. $100,000, and I could have the worst credit in the world and $0 behind my name. But you get there, like, give you a loan and you're giving me that as collateral, like, slam dunk. They're praying for you to mess up.
Yes.
I kind of bring that in to just show like that's an extremely de-risked deal for a bank. So when you're putting the deal in front of the bank, how can you de-risk it? That's a seller notes. That's having a highly experienced management team, and
how much capital are you potentially bringing to the table?
Capital should bring to the table.
Does the business have any assets? If it doesn't, that's okay. But you want to start looking at these things as leverage pieces for going to the larger banks or to the larger financial institution that's actually going to do the funding for the project.
What would you say is your recommendation to someone who they're looking to acquire the business as well to get a financing, but they don't have a strong team backing them because they don't have experience in that industry, but it's a really good business as well? What would be your recommendation there?
You gotta build it.
You gotta build it. That's actually when we did our the word escaping me, our fellowship within the M&A space. Spent the first half of the fellowship building out that management dream team. That really was what it was. It didn't take us too long because we have pretty great network of people that we were working with or that we would have liked to have worked with. The only part, kind of piggyback into what Lionel was saying, when in the beginning we were like very gung ho about this industry, making this decision, we started seeing that whenever it comes to bringing in that industry expert individual, you
Mhm.
want to make sure that this is the deal you're going to do, because you don't want to end up bringing somebody on and then you're looking at this deal, it might not work, but he's already on or she's already on. What are you going to do? You're going to, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
we're not doing trucking anymore. We're gonna pivot to construction. I'm a trucking expert. I can't, So you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you don't kind of pigeonhole yourself in that regard. You can build 70, 80% of your dream team of persons with expertise, with the actual know-how, getting deals done, experience running a business outside of whatever you might bring to the table. Definitely.
That was smart too, because your team is so important. I'm learning that now. Having a board,
Crucial.
so way better. Like I'm a strong believer in when you're building your team, they should be like way better at that thing than you are. They're
Mhm.
the expert in that thing, and they
Yeah.
just build the vision too.
No, of course. Like for example, like if we wrap this up and said, you know what, we want to go into the oil and gas industry, right?
Mm.
I don't know a thing about oil and gas, but I could form an oil and gas company and have five persons on my board, and they each have 20 years of experience. And now all of a sudden, this new company that I have, I can actually say we have about 100 years of experience
Experience.
in
Yeah.
the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And this is what we're looking to do. It's true. I mean,
Mm.
it's right here.
It's very true. So we touch on the financing portion of it. But I have a few more questions in terms of like what's next for you guys? What are you looking to stay in that industry for the next 5 years? You looking to pivot? Is there something you're like, we're working on this? What's next?
Well, what we can share.
What you can share.
We can. Let's definitely preface that. Carrot
Yeah.
top. We did set out to build within this industry for the next decade. We do want to do an exit of some sort, and as we kind of continue to progress within the space, we're learning things about the industry that obviously we didn't know a year or two ago. So that's crucial because hindsight being 2020, you want to make sure that as you continue to grow your goals and your visions, or however you want to kind of phrase that, they also need to evolve so that you can be realistic with what's actually attainable in your sector.
Yeah.
So we are looking to stay within the hyperbaric and regenerative medicine space.
Yeah. And I would say, just like looking at the windshield view, big targets right now is just operational excellence with what
Yeah.
we have. There's this kind of like a school of thought. If you want to have 100 sheeps, if you, let's say you want to have 100 sheeps, right? You shouldn't just go out and buy 100 sheeps. Like then you're gonna just like have a whole bunch. You're gonna have 100 sheeps, but you're gonna have chaos too. So what you should do is buy 1 to 5 sheeps,
Mm-hmm.
and you raise those sheep. You care for those. Yeah, you operate within that. You operate with those 5 sheeps with a system that can support 100, 500. So you gotta build. You have to build a system first, and that's what we're focused on right now. Just operational excellence, and we'll know that we'll have that when we can track where our margins are going to be.
Oh, I
That's
love
the
that.
first thing. That's like when you have operational excellence, then your business has the best margins within your industry. So that means you have everything dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next step outside of operational excellence for us is just our capital stack for scale, and
Yeah, money.
Let's call it what it
the
is.
money. And we were really looking at initially we were looking at just like we're just gonna finance through debt, which is still the case.
Yeah.
But we're seeing now where we actually might launch a fund.
Yes.
We actually might launch. We're going to launch a fund, not might.
Yes.
Yeah, we're setting a target to launch a fund within I'd say Q or the start of next year, and our target will be around a $5 million raise, and we'll be we will be deploying that within the space that we have the experience in.
I love that. And whew, yeah, the fun route. Yes. Because you can do so you have more flexibility, you can do equity, you can do debt, all that stuff. But you said something and which was the 10-year plan, right? Which means you guys, I'm assuming that you guys would meet together as a team to do your strategy session. Like, how do you, what does that day to day look like, or weekly, where you guys come together, like, all right, bam, now let's work on the business strategy? Because I'm sure you guys don't live together. But like, how do you navigate that? That's question one. And part two is, how do you both as individual um, take care of yourself so you can show up as the best version of yourself to grow your business and to run it how you're running it today?
So let me answer the one with at least from that 10-year vision to where we're going on a day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year thing. Because we kind of run in different departments, obviously there's bleed and
Yeah.
everything. I got to communicate, vice versa. The director has to get with us. We have routine standing meetings that kind of go on with the staff throughout the week, and
Mhm.
then from a more executive level over the weekends.
Mm.
Weekends are most of the time where the noise and the chaos kind of slows down enough where you can actually sit down for 2 hours, an hour and a half, and just kind of, hey, what's on the map? What the heck's gonna happen? Come, Monday 9 a.m. We call it our Sunday Mosh sessions. Mosh as a motion, but that's kind of what happens at scale when it comes to that side.
Yeah.
Um, to answer that question, there
Okay.
was one more in there. I missed it.
The next one is for both of you. I need you to answer that. And how do you pour into yourself so you can show the up as the best version of yourself?
I think Paris does that a lot better than me.
Touche.
Yeah, I truly still am learning how to find balance. I kind of adopted the mindset that, a rocket burns the most fuel going up. But
Mm.
once it's in orbit, it's like, then you can like switch into cruise control.
Yeah.
So like, for me, I've personally just like been in cycles where I'll just be just
Just work.
just working away, and I'll burn out. I won't lie, I'll burn out. The weekends are where I try to calculate my burnout to be,
Hmm.
and that's where I check out sometimes. I'll check out on like Saturdays, Saturdays I'll check out, just I'll be just watching something, or just I don't want to hear about work. But sometimes I do,
And
Sometimes I
I think when you're in the building stage, that happens a lot because I'm guilty of that too. But even when you say that you burn out, like, is it that you're just always working, working, working? Are you also reading books? Are you going to events? Are you networking? What leads to that burnout? Because I'm sure it's not just a bunch of meetings as well. And the pouring into you too is, how are you improving your mind, your knowledge, all those things? Because it all plays a role in it too, good or bad.
Yeah, so I do read actually. I'm always sending Paris like Amazon links, like,
Links.
yo, buy this, we need this.
True.
And also, I credit a lot of my knowledge this year and last year to AI. Like, I kid you not. Like,
Yeah.
AI is like, but the thing is too, like, I also read.
Hmm.
Your AI is as smart as, like, if you're a 50 on the smart scale, then your AI is probably at like 100. So if you bring yourself to like a 60, your AI will probably be at a 120. So, and it goes down. I think your AI doubles your capacity.
Hmm.
So if you can improve yourself, then your AI kind of like, it just compounds on what you know.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
believe that. I
yeah.
believe that. There's a book that I read, and because it's at the four sales letter or something like that.
Mm.
I don't remember what it is, but it's really good. And anytime I'm doing certain things marketing wise, now I tell the AI, based on this book and
Yeah,
their strategy, tweak this for, and I was like, boom.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
It's good.
that's really, just where I think I get most of my learning. I'm also in college too.
Okay.
I'm doing my
Oh yeah.
bachelor's. So, and it's crazy because like sometimes like the teacher is like, I used to like have the disposition that college is kind of like, is I don't learn anything, but
Hmm.
but I realize it's actually the prerequisites that suck. Once you actually get to the means, I've actually been learning a lot in my college classes. Believe it or not, a lot of the issues that we are not really issues, but challenges that we face
Yeah.
in our business. Sometimes like the this week's course is about how to properly motivate teams. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see this.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of this.
Yeah, I did see that one actually.
Yeah.
I did see those quotes. That was nice.
No, that's definitely good. At least like you're also increasing your knowledge, and as I said, like I could definitely relate to the burnout portion of it. A lot of entrepreneurs who are building, we do go through that phase, but then also knowing like how do you set boundaries? Balance is something like I don't know if I believe in, and sometimes I believe in it. I don't know. It just depends on what season you're in your life and your journey. What about you, Paris?
I would say, at least on my part, just because, so not for nothing, entrepreneurship was not like my first go to thing. So I am coming at it with a slightly different lens, but kind of picking up this sword and shield and kind of going through this process alongside Lionel and just seeing the power in a team. You know, one of my favorite quotes when I first got into business was just go fast if you want to. If you go alone, you go fast. If you want to go further, you go with a team. And that has been crucial with understanding when and where to deploy the right people,
Mm-hmm.
whether you have a task or an issue or a scenario or a challenge.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. On the other side, with kind of just managing stuff, I think it's important to be able to kind of dissociate yourself a little bit. Specifically, one thing that I've seen that's been given the best results is like serving, and doesn't have to be even in like
Hmm.
the religious sense, but I would just mean like just serving that you're gonna be going out, volunteering your time, going
Hmm.
out doing something with somebody that might need help. Like for example, I have a nephew and a niece. My nephew recently he started doing like some like men's like mentorship kind of stuff. He's 10 years old. I sat in on one of the things just to kind of see what they were doing. The lady looked at me because I was kind of dressed up. Oh, police should be okay. There you
No, I'm sorry. You're
go.
good.
Okay.
Just
Um,
pause for a little bit, Gecko.
I sat in just to kind of see what it was, and then I was in the background doing work on my laptop, and I'm just kind of hearing what they're talking about. Everybody in that room, they all have obviously lives and work and stuff that they're doing outside of that, but they come here and they serve and they give to these kids something that maybe they don't have on the day to day.
Yeah.
And that kind of is what planted that little seed. Was like, because sometimes me and Lionel, like, we'll get opportunities to maybe speak or do this or that, but to be actually active and maybe kind of be some kind of a presence, that's something that I've been able to experiment with a little bit. And as we kind of move along, I'd love to kind of explore that some
Yeah,
more.
that's actually really good. Like I've seen this study that says that volunteering lights up like so much parts of your brain. Someone was telling me about that recently.
I
So
know I wish if we'd done this interview a week ago, I would have invited you
Oh,
both. We did
Kalisha's
a
the real
whole
deal.
week of activities, just
Real deal.
volunteering all week.
Yeah. Kalisha, one of your colleagues at the
At the event, Lily.
you had what was
Yeah.
her name again? Quick
Her
shout
name
out.
is Lily.
Okay, okay. And you did something with some children or some volunteer work. I don't know if I don't know what exactly it
So
was.
it's called Lover City, and what they do is they do a bunch of outreach activities throughout the year. But then every year they have something called Lover City Week, and it's
Hmm.
like 4 to 5 days where they have a bunch of activities or projects happening for the entire day. Start from as early as 8, can go up to 8 p.m. in the night, and there are different activities around Tampa Bay where you can choose what time you want to go, what is it that you want to do. They had activities like just walking up to in different apartment complexes, giving away groceries, just knocking on people's door, giving away free groceries, free laundry, paying for people's gas. There were
what?
shelters, yeah, going to shelters, giving feed, serving dinner, breakfast. And I
Yeah.
mean, like, I did my last project that I did, because I did a few. There was this tiny home community I had no idea existed in Tampa. It's for the
Yeah.
homeless.
For the homeless, right?
Hmm.
I was mind blown. When I saw the tiny homes, I was like, there's no way a bed can fit in there. And they had like a twin set beds, really nice air conditioner and everything. But just their purpose behind it, or how they pour into that community. Most of their financing is just from donations or from the organizers' funding source. But it also, as you said, it does something inside of you where you're like, damn, there's this other whole world or opportunity exists. Like, how can I also give back? Because sometimes we
Yeah.
get lost in thinking about ourselves, me, and our business. And
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times those activities actually give me a light bulb moment or an idea. Sometimes I may be facing something in my business, and just by me volunteering, I'm like, boom, I can do this.
Yeah,
So
it's like a step back. You step back so you can step back in, unplug
Yeah.
and plug back in.
Yeah.
Yep,
yes. So I
true.
make it a point of my duty for every month I do some form of volunteer work, even if it's giving up all of my Saturday. I do it all the time, and I'm able to do that through Lover City because another thing that they have is Amazon Day, where we get a bunch of stuff from Amazon. I'm like really nice stuff, and we create a store for families in the community to come in and shop. So we'd go in day during the week, set up, and then all day Saturday, families just come in, they get stuff, and we talk to them. And a lot of time, people just need someone to talk to.
Hmm.
That's it, or someone to pray for. But
I
like,
like that. I
yeah.
like that actually.
So that's pretty. So if you guys ever want to do those stuff, yeah, I can bring you. We can go together. It's fun. It's so much
Yep.
fun. I disconnect from my phone. I don't do business. People know what I do. I'm like, I don't want to talk about business, nothing related. I want to be present.
Yeah, what's going on in your life? What are you dealing with?
Yes, I'm like, no way. But no, I definitely agree with you in the volunteering too. So we usually do this thing where to end the session, we call it rapid fire. Now, any one of you guys can respond. It's like the first thing that comes to your mind. Lionel is like, oh, what is she's gonna ask me right now?
I'm competitive by the end of like, I'm gonna get out of this.
All right, so we're gonna do it real quick and then we wrap up.
Yeah.
Now, one principle you will never compromise on in business or in life.
Lying.
Love that. Okay. Most underrated factor in a successful acquisition.
Look.
The biggest risk you ever took that actually paid off.
Our first deal, biggest
Yeah.
risk, and that thing's paying
That's
off.
the, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I think-
biggest risk we took.
Love
Yeah.
that.
We've never had that much debt before in our lives.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
4.1 to be exact.
An annual salary, trust me, we could quantify it.
One word, and I think I would love both of you guys to answer this. One word, and what legacy are you building?
Nice.
Or it could be a phrase.
Yeah, I was gonna say one word is gonna be tough.
It could be a phrase too. Like you're doing this
Doing it right.
Huh?
Doing it right.
Doing it right. That's the legacy. One, doing it right. Okay. Paris. He's like thinking.
A big legacy word for me is autonomy. Autonomy. I think a lot of times when you're looking to strive and build this thing, eventually you want this thing to have its own legs, actually be something that's worth calling, hey, this is my legacy. And whether you're a part of it, whether your hands are off of it or not, it's doing its thing and it's doing the thing that you set up for it to do. So autonomy.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, it was definitely a pleasure having you guys on the show. Gosh, I even learned a lot of stuff too that I didn't know. So a lot of the question, I'm like, yep, I want to know more about that. How can people connect with you both?
LinkedIn.
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is the best.
Yeah,
More
I would,
direct way.
yeah. I would say LinkedIn is the best way to like reach out.
Yeah.
I check my LinkedIn messages all the time, and
Yeah, our LinkedIn should have our emails, direct contact if you go that far, if you look far enough, and even direct LinkedIn messages. We're good to respond there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for listening and watching.
thank you.
Show whenever it goes live, like let us know what the feedback was in the comments. You guys subscribe and also just let us know if this was good. If we need part two, I think I would want a part two because I want to go deeper into it as well. This is just the beginning, and I want to wish you guys all the best in your ventures. You guys are crushing it, doing this in a space where it seems very intimidating or impossible to get into, but you guys are doing it as well. So I want to wish you guys all the best and a great year, and good luck with launching the fund. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alicia, thank you for having us.
Take care. God
Bye,
bless.
guys.
All right.
Bye.